Asian Spanning Gateway. I wanted to go in a little bit deeper into my religion. This is how I see religion, okay? And I use this as a format to create what I'm trying to produce in my life. This is some information that we all have access to, and it just depends on whether we try to use it or not, or if we're looking for something to be the right way. And if you're looking for something to be direct and just right and like that, um, good luck with that, because there's many different interpretations and many different way to see information. So that's why it's good to have the foundation, so you always have something to relate to, because there's so much this 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 is like the past, present, and future. There's so much information that's contained in this. So for me to sit up here and try to explain all that to you, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about how I see, how I use the 12 disciplines, how you can use the 12 disciplines, okay? Because one thing that is very helpful is to be able to acknowledge these things, okay? Because we should be able to put ourselves into each of these perspectives. They're like 12 different perspectives, okay? So if we wanted to take a look at our feelings, there's the fourth house, okay? Then we would know we can relate to past memories of our feelings, things that we want to experience in our feelings, things that we're feeling now. Okay, it's like you're tapping into the realm of feelings. All right, just by the acknowledgement of that perspective. Okay, so these are different perspectives. And so this information can be used if you're trying to build yourself in the spirit and physically. It's a representation of the spiritual and physical, and a representation of the mind, depending on your ability to see it. Okay, because each 12 houses represents 12 areas of thought. Okay. Um, 12 things that we think about, because they're all aspects of life. So of course we're going to be thinking about them, right? So we can put that into the perspective of the mind or the emotions. There's many different ways to look at the calendar. Okay, this is like unlimited information, and basically the foundation of this life in which we live. So each of these areas, okay, is something that we all experience, and depending on where your planets are in your chart, if you know or are familiar with it, this is information that can be useful for us to learn about ourselves. Okay, because our birth chart is amongst the transit of the universe. Okay, so we know that we are a part of that. So that information is definitely useful because things have a purpose, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't have shit around us if it didn't have a purpose, and we for sure wouldn't be here if we didn't have purpose, because people go every day, every moment. So, great way to start investigating your purpose, because not only is an interpretation of a birth chart, it's going to give you an idea, but it's not going to tell you the full the full value of you. Okay, that's not something that you can get through a quick interpretation. That's supposed to be internally interpreted. You're supposed to be able to align this chart with you, depending on how much time you spend on yourself or into your spirit. It's an investment, okay? It's definitely investment. That's why we have the eighth house, the house of investments, death and regeneration. Okay, how to regenerate. It talks about health, and these things need to be common knowledge, because that's what this medical industry is built off of. Um, this medical industry is built off of these natural remedies. Okay, the remedies also, that's going back to witchcraft, because that's how medicine and pharmaceutical companies are looked at, from spiritual beings who know the difference between what witchcraft is and what is not, um, and what's light work and dark work, because these are just words and terms that are used to be able to identify people. And a witch is actually a negative connotation. It's a degradation to the natural healers that were there. But then you also know there's a flip side to that. There's bitches, because not only are there healers, there's people, feminine energy that destroys as well, and they was called bitches, very similar to witches. Okay, so it's that positive and negative polarity of feminine and masculine energy. So, which is not a bad thing. It's if you this just depends on what type of work you doing. And we have to remember that this work plays out also through human nature, because a bitch carries a certain way about herself, right? She most likely is reckless with her mouth, casting spells, very negative, okay? And very degrading to bring somebody into a lower state. That's a form of witchcraft, just with the mouth. That's why words are spells, okay? Um, so these are many different areas of our life, whether we're paying attention to. Okay, because if you're trying to build strength in these areas, then learning about yourself, your strengths and weaknesses in these areas also can help you to be able to build and work on these. And this is what is called what is that word? I wanted to use. This is part of religion. What is that word? Oh, God dang, that makes me mad. Hold on, I got to think of it now. Oh, there you go. Practices. Okay, this is where you form different practices on any type of spiritual aspect that you want to build strength in, because a lot of us are very vulnerable in our second house for many reasons. It has to deal with insecurities. Okay, so there's many things that you can practice, all right, that you can attribute to your own religion in order for you to feel more whole in that area of life. Same thing, it goes with family and communication and relationships. It just depends on what you choose to build on. So, somebody that's not, I think I look at this as a relationship with God. Just don't quote me with that God works. I already told you how I feel about that God work, but this is how I look at relationships. There's many ways to relate to God. There's many different beings, existences. Okay, but if you're not aware of them, then how are you supposed to be able to further grow your relationship with whoever you're uh, dealing with, whatever being you consider your God. But you know, it should be in a sense of growing. That's why growing in trust, a lot of us have to have faith, okay, because it's a growth process. And that's especially dedicated to a lot of the things that we go through in life, our growth processes, and I mean in these many different areas of life. So that's what I practice. There's many different instruments and stuff that you can use for your own health and your well-being, and to give good or bad wishes on someone else. That just depends on the spirit. That's why you should test the spirit. Know for thyself, okay? Because not everything is what you hear. Everything don't be what things are made out to be, and that's the workings of magic. Until we find out, once the illusions break, that shit wasn't what it is. You feel me? Once the spell has been broken, okay, once we like, aha, oh, I see this, okay, then we do what we do from there. So, but if anybody, this is what I'm talking about, common knowledge, and I'm going to go into a little bit of chronology and past events on the foundation of witchcraft, because people tend to like facts and truth and stuff, which we're all responsible for knowing for ourselves anyway. But I'm going to bring up proof and evidence of the truths that I'm talking about, in order for us to interpret information for ourselves and come to our own conclusions, because this is us moving through our lives, and other people are supposed to be a form of guidance, support, um, on our path, or it could be blockages and detrimental on our path. It's so many things out here, and if we're not paying attention to nature, then you're going to be missing out from missing out on a lot. especially in these times. So it's good to, understand other type of spiritual systems before, placing judgment prematurely, because there's many different people out here doing many different things, and just because somebody says that they're in the church, that doesn't mean that they're a holy person. You have to know that for yourself before you would consider that, and that's what we don't do. And especially when it comes to these people in these high positions calling themselves popes and stuff, who have their own brotherhood and sisterhood of leadership, then we definitely would want to know, right, who we are putting in that type of position, especially mentally, because it's a form of subjugation as well. Because if he's the Pope, then what are you? Instead of you seeing that, um, just depending on who you are, you know, just some people, these titles got people fucked up. Just know that.